What up, geek variants? Welcome back. We are going to do this Black Adam spoiler review and really get into it about what's going on with the new phase one of the DC universe. So let's get into it.
Spoilers.
Black Adam, first movie in the new phase of the DC universe. We are here. Parker and apparently Dr. Fate is greater than Doctor Strange, according to
He
this
is.
man.
I said it. I said it.
So freaking, we are here. We're going to talk about this movie and break it down. And the way we're going to do it, I have seen the movie. My buddy here has not.
I
So
have not.
because he has not seen the movie, he's going to be providing all of the comic references and stuff to understand that this is where he's coming from with the comic standpoint versus where I'm coming from with the movie standpoint. So
Because I'm still going to see the movie. I don't care about spoilers on certain movies. Like this is one I don't care about spoilers. So give it up.
we're going to get into it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get up to date info on all the stuff we're going to break down. So here it is, Black Adam. So the way this movie starts off, of course, it shows Black Adam as a slave. It actually starts off with his son, and we see them searching for the pieces of Eternium. That's one of the things. Like this whole clan has invaded Kahndaq, and they're trying to figure out
The barbarians.
barbarians where they're trying to figure out where they're going with. I didn't catch the name in the process. Like they're trying to figure out where they're going with, Kahndaq. They want to take over the city. They want to find the pieces of Eternium. What reason they have for grabbing the pieces? We're trying to figure all that stuff out and what's going on. That's kind of how it opens up. Nobody knows why the lords want the pieces. Eventually find out it's to forge the crown of Eternium. Two, again, contact with the dark side, with the Rock of Finality and some of the champion of, known as Sabak, with the demon lords that are down there on the other side. So that was the whole purpose. And that's going to give them greater power to rule and conquer more and more as they go on. So throughout the process of this, we see, Black Adam's pretty much the backstory is strung throughout the movie. So in the process, you don't get everything right off the bat. You get everything as the movie goes on. So you get bits.
I like that. I like that.
So it was a lot better when they did it this way because again, you didn't feel forced to have to memorize all this backstory stuff and then connect it through. It made connections as it went through, and it made sense where the connections were lined up. Okay. So I'll try to make those connections for you as we go through. But basically, that's how we get started. Everything's going on. One of the pieces of Eternium is found by one of the slaves. He just asked for his reward that he's supposed to get for finding a piece. They kill him, throw him off a cliff. And then the kid was like, oh no, like, why? And so at that, and he ends up grabbing the piece and running away with it, trying to keep it. And he ends up getting captured, and he's supposed to be made an example of. So that's where we have him all set up to be made an example of. They're about to cut off his head, and then poof, he's summoned by the magicians, to figure out what's going to happen with Black Adam being summoned. And then that's when we get the story of, bam, Black Adam makes his appearance. The crown of Sabak is finally forged. God's getting ready to put it on his head and stuff like that. And then it cuts away to a big lightning explosion within the castle. And bam, everything is destroyed.
So the kid turned into Black Adam?
The kid was summoned to be Black Adam.
So that was Teth.
So that was Teth, as far as we know. Freaking, maybe it happened when he was a kid, but we just know that Black Adam started off as a slave.
So and they changed the backstory from the comics.
So yeah, they're definitely changing up again. And this is actually what I don't mind throughout any movie within the DC universe or the Marvel universe. I don't want the exact same thing, but make sure that you reference the stuff that we all know and love, but change it up a little bit to make it fit the story. The movies are not going to be as, in depth as the comics, because the comics were told over multiple issues, over months, years, whatever the case be. Whereas we got a hour and a half to 2 hour time limit where they're pretty much telling everything. So
because in the book, it was his nephew who got the power of Shazam when Kahndaq got invaded, and Teth got injured, and that's when the wizard said, "Well, you can share your powers with anybody," and he shared it with Teth to heal him. And so they both became technically Black Adam.
Okay.
So, but then Teth killed his nephew, so and took the power for himself.
Right.
I would do it too.
So there is. I mean, so that's what we're kind of getting into. So of course we get
That's
the
pretty
entire
good.
thing through 5,000 years later, and we kind of find out what's going on. And it's 5,000 years later. This gang, they're called Intergang, which is one of the stupidest names I've freaking heard of. Intergang is the name of this mercenary group that has now invaded Condor.
That was on the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah. Again, still one of the stupidest
Okay.
names. So Intergang is being taken over. So of course you got everybody trying to figure out, okay, well, what needs to happen? What are we going to do? We're being oppressed by this Intergang as they go through everything. And you have Adriana, which is one of the researchers, and I believe it's her brother and two other guys, and they're trying to figure out Ishmael and one other, I can't remember the other guy, Samir. They're trying to figure out what's going on with the crown. Like, where's the crown? We got to get it moved before they find it, because Intergang is looking for it. They want to know where it is. That's one of the reasons why they invaded Kandahar. So as they're going through everything trying to find this thing, these guys are, going through the underground, sneaking through everything, trying to look for it. Long story short, they've been searching all the time, and they finally find the temple is supposedly where it's kept.
Okay.
When they get in there, we find out freaking that Samir goes missing, or Ishmael goes missing for a minute, and then Samir goes to look for him. Then Samir goes missing, and we see Samir dropped and freaking killed. And it's like, what happened? You see Intergang converging now on the people who are, searching for the relic. Throughout this process, of course, you kind of, movie magic, you figure out what's going on. Ishmael is captured. She gets the crown. They're like handed over, blah, blah, blah. She makes her way around and it ends up as she's about to be killed because she has to hand over the crown. She reads the inscription on the tomb that's right there below her as she's kind of sitting there on the ground being held at gunpoint. And she reads it. And that's what unlocks Black Adam. He is now freaking released in his superhero pose. And basically he sees what's going on and they go to question him like they always do in the movies. And he just starts murdering everybody. He saves her quickly in the process. There's one point where he just kind of moves something out of the way to save her. But other than that, he's just murdering bodies. I'm talking about straight electrocution, like smacking people against freaking rocks, ripping freaking heads off, splitting people in two. He grabbed a dude by the face and just shot electricity through his body till it went to nothing but bones. Like,
I like that.
Black Adam gave zero, notion about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. He just made sure people got dead real quick.
And that's how he's supposed to be. That's Black Adam.
Yeah. There's
glad to hear they kept that.
All he did, he looked at him and said, "Your magic is weak," and just start bodying people. So as he started bodying people, of course, we find out that Ishmael is the leader of that particular group. He said, "Make it look real," and basically now he's continuing the hunt. They got away with the crown. He's on the hunt. So they're trying to figure stuff out. Throughout the entire thing, everybody's getting freaking murdered. Helicopters, grenades getting thrown. He's shooting the lightning through like 30 people at one time. Everything starts to move in slow motion as he's moving through because he's got the speed and power to do all this very easily. So he's literally doing that whole kind of Quicksilver thing where he just adjusts little things and trajectories and stuff like that, and people start getting dead. So definitely freaking, you can see how
he's more like Flash because he's faster than Quicksilver. But
I mean, more or less, but just referencing that movie scene. So with all that being said, he gets everybody killed. But one of the guys launches an Eternium rocket at him before he gets killed and manages to injure Black Adam. And it's kind of like, you didn't know what it was at first. You just saw the rocket and it had the same blue glow as all the Eternium stuff. But that's how he ended up getting injured, like a small injury on the side. He kind of stitches himself up. But it's enough that when he tries to fly off, he drops to the ground real quick and he's injured. He's out cold. So they have to carry him back to the house. And he's in the young kid's bedroom, whose name happens to be
the researcher carries him back.
So the researchers take him back. Yes, researchers take him back, and she has a son. So it's her and the brother, because other guys are freaking one's dead and one's the leader of the thing. So they take him back, and the kid, whose name is Amon, which was the nephew that you were talking about earlier. So that's just probably Easter egg or reference stuff there. He's there with a whole wall of Justice League stuff, everything in there. So as soon as Black Adam wakes up, first thing he does is lightning blast and shoots Superman in the face on the poster. Immediately. First thing he does.
He knows who's a threat.
And throughout that process, again, the kid starts explaining to him about superheroes and basically the whole Shazam thing, asking the superhero questions and stuff like that. You got the bulletproof stuff. You got this. You got to get updated. You're supposed to wear the cape. Like, everything that's going on. And Black Adam's like, yeah, I don't care. And he just starts walking through walls because I need to get to where I'm trying to go right now. In the process, he meets everybody else. They kind of get on the same accord about figuring out what's what. And he's like, I got to go. So he leaves. In the process, he goes and he flies off and he sees a statue of himself. He's looking at the statue and just looking like, because he's now gotten the history and backstory. They've gone through the text and stuff with him about 5,000 years. Like, it's been 5,000 years. So fun little references. Like, he sees like a Clint Eastwood freaking movie. He's just kind of looking at it. Later on, he uses his kind of hands like a lightning gun and mimics Clint Eastwood and kills like 6 guys with like a lightning bolt shot. But he's learning, basically he's ingratiating himself into the culture and understanding what's going on. So now he's kind of using stuff as he sees it. And I think this came more or less from the kid who was telling him, like, you got to get updated. You got to have a better name. You got to have this. And he hasn't called Black Adam throughout the entire movie. He refers himself to Tethadam the entire time. But you kind of see where it's kind of leading up to with the kid trying to help him get up to speed and figure stuff out. And he's just utilizing everybody who he sees with guns, which, again, is foreign magic to him. So when he does it with his fingers or whatever, he's just mimicking what they're doing with pulling guns and stuff on him. And he saw it on the Clint Eastwood movie. So nice little reference and stuff to that. Eventually, with him standing at the rock, we get the call. We see Hawkman is en route. Aldishodge is en route. And he ends up getting the team together. So the Justice Society is already formed. They're already together. And he picks up everybody. So we start getting a quick backstory on them and who's who. So it's like, okay, this is Cyclone. So at that, Maxine Hunkel, little backstory on her. She has wind powers. She's on the way. She goes and meets up with him. We see Dr. Fate, Kent Nelson. He's on the way in. He's got his freaking helmet. He constantly daydreams off a little bit because he's touching the helmet and looking through the future. Yes, go for it. Shoot.
I have a question.
What's up?
And it's about Dr. Fate.
Okay.
Does he have the ability to take off the helmet at will?
So what it looks like is he takes the helmet off and he takes, because actors got to have their screen time and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so he takes the helmet off as necessary, so like that. But it's like it's quickly assumed that freaking when the helmet needs to go on, it goes on. So like that.
Okay.
But the helmet is never really far from reach, I guess we'll see. Because if he's not holding it, then he does his little magic to make it disappear. But
okay, so I gotta prepare myself for them not being accurate with that.
Yeah, they're not going to be,
because Naboo, once you put it on, unless he releases you, you cannot take that helmet off.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that was played with as they go through the movie.
Do you hear Naboo talking at all? I need them to have like a conversation with each other.
No.
God damn it! All right.
No. Okay. I did not hear Naboo unless I missed it. Freaking like you hear the speaking. What he like.
His speech pattern, does it change?
I can't recall if his speech pattern exactly changed or that, but you kind of see him kind of going through looking to the future, and he's having like psychic moments and stuff like that. So to me, I think it's more or less Naboo's talking to him through pictures and stuff like that, images and stuff like that, for him seeing the future and what's to happen. But I think that's pretty much about all we get. Again, usually I see the movie 2 or 3 times for this. Like, I got to see it the once, and I'm trying to pick out everything that was
I needed a firestorm moment there. I need it because they're always talking to each other. I need that.
Yeah, that firestorm was freaking wild. So they set up everything. We get Atomsmasher, of course. He's on the way in, so he gets his introduction. He has a quick call with somebody on the phone. So he's talking, and on the phone you see Henry Winkler, and he says, "Hey, freaking, that's Al, and you know who that was, the original Adam." And so like that. So nice little Easter egg there. He's talking to him. He's like, "Hey, don't mess up the suit," because he gave him the suit and stuff to hang on to, and was like, go do your thing or whatever. So nice, we got that little interaction. And basically the Justice Society is already formed. They're getting their mission is what they got to do, because they realize that Black Adam has been woken up, and the ones that are giving them the orders and directions is none other than Amanda Waller. So she's on the screen telling them this is what's going on, this is what needs to happen
about that.
And Hawkman's kind of like, all right, we got it, I ain't worried about it, we'll make it happen. And you see his armor in the background. So they pretty much arrive on scene, and they're going to figure out what's going on. And in the process, the kid gets everything kind of riled up with some of the guards. And, he's trying to get, Black Adam to save him and stuff like, to show that he's a symbol, he can be a hero, all this other stuff. He ends up saving the kid just because, He's got a connection to the kid in the monk because that's the one who let him out, I guess, or whatever. More or less, that's just kind of what it is. And we see the Justice Society show up, and they immediately see Black Adam, and they're like, "Hey, you need to come with us." And he's like, "No." He's like, "We're not really asking. Like, you need to stand down." No. And then they start scrapping. So it's literally Dr. Fate and Hawkman, huh?
That would be a mistake.
Yeah, it's Dr. Fate and Hawkman going at it with Black Adam right now. So they're the ones start. So you see him using his powers. He quickly puts his stuff on, causes distractions, and you see his gold crystallis kind of go everywhere. And he's he created old Kondak as a distraction, and they're just fighting, going in. Eventually, they call in Atom Smasher and Cyclone to back them up because they had him waiting on the ship initially. But they call him in to back him up, and basically everybody's going in. Atom Smasher is relegated to roughly comic relief, I think, throughout the whole movie. Atom Smasher and Cyclone, I don't think were used as well as they could have been used. They were just kind of there. They had a brief little kind of flirty moment on the ship. Like, she gave him a snack and he just kind of talked to him. He got a little bit about her backstory. He's like, "Man, you really turned your stuff around. Like, you really, made the best out of your situation," because she was like kidnapped when she was younger and all that kind of stuff, and turned into what she is. Because the way she gets her cyclone powers is through the like nanobots or whatever that she has in her blood.
Okay, I got issues with the team anyway, because I think this would have been the perfect opportunity to take off Cyclone, and you could have dropped in Alan Scott as the OG Green Lantern, and you would have made that team that much more powerful. But we're talking about Black Adam, not what I want. Go for it, because
it definitely works.
Preparing myself.
You think about the characters and stuff that they can bring in, because with them mentioning, the original Adam, we know who his son was, which is Damage.
Yep.
So it's like you make all these references that can be brought in later at any point in time, and really set the team up for like a whole bunch of feats of just strength. But again, like, they were kind of utilized. So again, Atom Smasher didn't really know where to go. He was always kind of lost. He was always like eating and stuff like that, freaking, because he's got to keep his calories up, I guess. So
he did a good.
What he does. So that's what it is. Cyclone, her powers were pretty. They were magical. She's kind of like a ballerina type deal, the way she uses her stuff, and she's always spinning and flowy, stuff like that. But
she wasn't spinning; it was just spinning around her, right?
Stuff was spinning around her, but she was spinning too. She was literally like doing some kind of dancer kind of thing. So she would spin. It wasn't like a constant spin, but she'd do like the occasional like pirouette. Or
okay, I was about to say, because her equilibrium must be great.
Yeah, freaking. But she was doing everything to kind of get there and get stuff done. She's throwing stuff at him, so like that. She kind of enhanced Dr. Fate stuff. When like she would like he's using his magic, so she would use her wind against his magic to do something, which I don't really know what it was doing, because it's Dr. Fate. He don't really need no help like that.
He need no help at all.
So again, they were relegated to kind of side stuff. And then I think they had one moment where he was able to smash Black Adam with like a nice big fist to keep him in the ground for a second, and that lasted all of 15 seconds before Black Adam like uppercutted the crap out of him. Straight, be honest, it's straight when Ant-Man became Giant Man, and he got uppercutted by freaking War Machine and Iron Man. It looked like the same thing. Freaking, like, the boy needed some orange slices when he was done, because he was knocked the heck out. It was out.
Okay, so, but was the fight at least enjoyable?
The fight was enjoyable because of Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and Black Adam. Like, they were going at it. Like, Black Adam and Hawkman were like scrapping hard. Like, they were just like throwing blows, and I loved it, because knowing that Hawkman can't stand toe to toe with Black Adam, on his best day, is like, it's not freaking happening. But they showed that he's got resilience. They showed Hawkman's got hella resilience, and he's taking the beating, getting his ass whooped, but he's getting back up and getting into the fight. So that's one thing I like. You got a piece of Fate dropping prisms on it. That's the first time I think you actually heard like Black Adam scream in like pain a little bit. It's like, because he's hit with the stuff from Dr. Fate. So it's like, okay.
I mean, one of his weaknesses is powerful magic. So,
yeah, powerful magic.
And Dr. Fate does have powerful magic.
So all that stuff made sense and was in line. Now, throughout the course of the movie, they constantly go at it. Hawkman and Black Adam, like they had like almost like 2 or 3 fights separately in the movies, like, where they were just fighting each other because they were mad about stuff.
Well, Hawkman's always mad. So
yeah, you need to conform to be like this or like that. I used to be a slave. I ain't kneeling to no one. Bam, aggression. So like that. It didn't matter what it was. And there was a good allusion to that too when they were in the apartment after this had went down, and they said they're gonna talk and they're gonna figure stuff out. They end up going back to the apartment to talk and figure stuff out.
And they fought again.
They were still talking, but when they fought through the kid's room. So you kept seeing the mace destroyed Aquaman's face. Batman freaking got obliterated. His little statue thing got obliterated. Wonder Woman's poster got ripped in half. You specifically see all the instances of the Justice League taking damage throughout the course of the fight in the room.
So basically, they're erasing them from existence and starting anew.
Possibly.
Ooh, I like that.
That was one of the things that I was looking at. So it was kind of like we're getting rid of certain characters like that, or it's setting up for a fight to come. Because with some of the storylines that I've seen before, which I'll get into later, it's definitely something that they're bringing the pain with as far as character goes. Now, throughout the course of the movie, again, they're just basically it's a game of hot potato with the crown. Ishmael is steady looking for the crown and going back and forth. Eventually, they end up because everybody keeps fighting and the kid keeps running around all over the place and they're trying to hide the crown. Ishmael eventually gets his hands on the crown at some point in time. When he gets his hands on the crown, basically that's just like, I got the kid. We're going to take the crown and get back to the freaking base to do whatever. Bam, he's got the kid, no crown. Black Adam is still trying to kill people. Hawkman's like, stop killing people. He's like, okay, I won't kill nobody. Took two people fly up in the air. Tell me what I need to know. Nope, drop him. Hawkman went and saved him. Threw the other one after he told him where he needed to go. Hawkman went and saved him. Told you not to kill people. I didn't kill him. I waited till you got there before I dropped him. I ain't kill nobody. But again, this kind of led to them arguing some more and then fighting some more. So this is just how it got into it. And they're constantly going back and forth. Again, with Atom Smasher kept messing up and messing Hawkman up. Like he would wave his hand when he's, big and stuff like that, and accidentally smack Hawkman out the sky and stuff like that. And every time Hawkman would stand up, he'd be like, me and you gonna fight. Like, I'm sick of you. You keep messing up and you're causing me damage every time I mess up. So again, that's why I say Atom Smasher kept getting relegated to comic relief. He was just kind of there.
Well, if he's the second version, so he would technically be the young one. So
yeah, he's the young one.
He's still learning.
And that's the thing that we're getting at. Like, he's trying to do what he's doing. He has good moments like that, but you see very specifically what he does and how he does things to protect the others around him. And that's kind of, he's more on the defensive side, but that actually alludes to the comics, because I know Atom Smasher used to get frustrated, and him and Black Adam eventually sided and left the Justice Society at some point because they were fed up with not being able to do what needed to be done. And that's the thing that Black Adam is all about doing. Like, I will do what needs to be done to make sure that things are protected, in conduct. So basically throughout the course of this, again, the kid ended up hiding the crown. So Ishmael thought he had it, didn't have it, but he knew that they would bring the crown to him because he had the kid. We fast forward to that point where it's like, okay, everybody decides to work together. We'll figure it out. Dr. Fate's having some premonitions about somebody's going to die. And pretty much he told Hawkman, like, you're going to die. Like, I can't, like, you're going to die. So they go through the whole process. As everything is happening, we get to the place. Black Adam, they have a plan. Black Adam says, screw the plan, leaves the ship and starts jacking everything up in the canyon. Like, he doesn't care. He's just destroying everything and everybody to find the kid, because that's his mission right now. Find the kid. When he finds the kid, of course, everybody shows up finally. You got the big shield of Eternium that's over Ishmael and his guards, and he's like the kid at gunpoint. Give me the crown. I'll go on about my business. So they give up the crown and stuff. And once he get the crown, she comes and gives up the crown to get her son back, because that's her son. In that process, the guy goes to put the crown on, and Black Adam sees his moment and rushes in to kind of destroy everything. In the process, everybody's kind of getting shielded. So you see Atom Smasher go shield Cyclone. That's more of that. This is the one I care about. I'm going to cover her. So he goes to cover her. You see Hawkman go to shield the researcher woman, Adriana. And you see Dr. Fate jump in to, cover Amon in the process. He unleashes his lightning, which again is uncontrollable. He just kind of lets it out and destroys everything. He ends up inadvertently injuring the kid at some point.
Okay.
So the kid is jacked up. Fate didn't get to him in time or whatever, so the kid is jacked up, or he penetrated his magic because he's putting the shield up. He ends up getting hurt. So in that process, we find that Ishmael didn't get to put the crown on. The crown is on his chest, and he died. Now there's an inscription freaking on the crown that was trying to be deciphered the entire time about life and death, you know, and they couldn't figure out what it was or what was going on, and it's just something that it was kind of plaguing everybody. So they go get the boy treated, figure out what's going on. Black Adam says, you know, I injured him. Like, I give up. I'm not going to do anything. Like, I hurt the kid. I wasn't trying to. I'll release my power and stuff like that. And I'll go. Because he ended up telling the story about his son at this point. And that's why he said he'll release his power. So he's talking about Harut. So in the process of this, we come to find out we get the backstory about what's going on. So Harut was given the powers of Black Adam. He was running the show and doing everything. So when he went to go look at the statue was not of him. The statue was of his son, who was constantly being the savior and taking care of things. What ended up happening was that when Harut was going back to his family, because they couldn't get him, so they went after his family. So they killed his mother, they injured his father. And when Harut went back, you know, he was Black Adam. He went back to help his father. The only way that he could save his father was to share his powers with him. So he gave him his powers. When he gave him his powers, you saw him change into, you know, Black Adam, and immediately Harut was killed by a sniper arrow. So he's done. This is what causes him to lose his shit and go after the king. He wants revenge. And that's one of the reasons why we saw the big electrical burst in the beginning when he was going to put the crown on. Once they had the crown, that was him going to get revenge for his family. So he fried everything, and was uncontrollable rage that he expressed to kill everybody. With that uncontrollable rage, that's what caused him to be locked up in the first place. So once he was deemed unworthy by the wizards, it showed a very brief fight with the wizards and stuff, and it looked like he was taking out all the wizards, and it looked like there was the one wizard left, Shazam, that managed to imprison him in the tomb, and that was it. So now we got the backstory of what happened and how everything transpired. So they changed the story based off the original comics, where again the nephew and him had shared the power, then he stole the power. It was more of, so the love story that was put forth again was of several different things. You get the father and the son love story. You get the one about the bromance between freaking, you know, Hawkman and freaking Dr. Fate, because they were very close throughout the whole thing, because they worked with each other a lot. You know, you get the one with the little flirty between Atomsmasher and Cyclone. Everything is, and you get the mother and son with the researcher Adriana and Amon. So I like that it wasn't overly pushed that somebody's got to fall in love, but it felt more natural through the story of people caring about one another, trying to make sure things were happening. So now we understand why you can now be a bit more sympathetic towards Black Adam as a character, because we know that they're bringing him into a hero light right now. He's the hero that will do things that others won't do. Okay. That's kind of how he's being shown throughout the universe, because again, The Rock is not playing a villain, so to speak. He was called a villain throughout the movie at certain points, but he's the anti-hero. He's gonna do the stuff again. He's in the
so he's the main focus of the whole movie, or is it Intergang is the main villain?
He's the main focus right now. Black Adam is the main focus of the movie throughout the entire thing, because you kind of see how things are going on. So when he says he's gonna give up his power, that's it. Everything has happened. He ends up getting taken to the prison underneath the ice caps. That's where we see Emilia Harcourt from Peacemaker and all that stuff.
Oh.
He's there. So they end up locking. He's without his powers. They lock him up in there, and you see several other prisoners. No one you can actually see. You just see red cases. So this is where Amanda Waller is keeping everyone in prison, all the superpowered people. So you probably saw like maybe about 30 or 40 different cases with people in them. That's where they're being kept. Dr. Fate said very specifically that, earlier, because he was trying to he went to go talk to Black Adam and find out, did you find the kid? He's like, how are you here? How'd you keep up? He was like, I can be in two places at once. My physical body, my magic and stuff, whatever. So that was a moment to just let us know what he can do, because later on we see that the guy with the crown starts glowing. The entire thing about the crown was it talks about life and death. The only way to death is through life, which is pretty obvious. But again, where all the demons and stuff are is a mirror image. So when you flip the inscription backwards and stuff like that, you had to die to get to the rock of finality to meet with the demons to become their champion.
Okay.
So that's what he did. So when he got killed by Black Adam, he now met his death. He had the crown. He gets put in there. So now he returns as Sabak. Now Sabak is your main villain, and he's running around, and now he's going back. He's going to find the throne to sit on it to get his power and rule Kahndaq. That's the whole setup for him. So because of that, he's going to run over everything. He ends up taking down the ship and stuff that is made out of nth metal. Can't be destroyed, but it was definitely taken down and stuff. And Hawkman, Atomsmasher, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, they're trying to contend with this guy. And of course, he's just beating the crap out of all of them. Sabak is just bodying these people, right? What ends up happening is he goes to sit on the throne, and Fate is like, I'm going to slow him down. He's like, I couldn't see anything to stop your death except for this one thing that I could do. He says, I can finally now see into the future, and I see nothing, because he's relegated himself to death in place of Hawkman by shielding the throne and putting himself in a one-on-one fight with Sabak, keeping Hawkman, Atomsmasher, and Cyclone out while he fights. So he goes and he starts fighting Sabak, and he's holding his own against Sabak, and so like they're going back and forth. But what he's doing is he's actually only at partial strength, because he's projecting himself to where Black Adam is, and he's freeing Black Adam from the prison and telling him like, yo, you're the only one that can defeat this champion. You need to come out. You need to come back. This is what I foresaw. So get here. So he breaks him out, and he fights off the guards and ends up swimming back to the surface. And he has a whole little montage. He sees his family again. They say, you're not ready. Go be a hero. That's what he does. He goes to be a hero. So when he gets to the surface, what does he do? Shazam, bam. He's off, and he comes to fight Sabak. In the process of that, Dr. Fate ends up, his magic barrier gets broken down. Hawkman rushes up. We see Sabak stab Dr. Fate through the body. So at that, he dies, essentially. Helmet comes off and stuff like that. And we see him fade away in the magic, right? So we see him fade away, and the helmet, hits the ground. During this process, Hawkman contends with him as best he can. About to die, Black Adam shows up. Black Adam and Sabak start scrapping. They're going at it. Throughout this process, Black Adam has a little moment where he's kind of the down and out for a second. We see Hawkman step up and try to fight. Hawkman ends up getting killed. Turns out it's not Hawkman. It's actually Hawkman using Dr. Fate's helmet. He's using Nobu to project himself, multiple versions of himself. So he's not wearing the helmet. He's just holding the helmet, projecting multiple versions of himself to help provide a distraction and pin down the guy, while Black Adam grabs Sabak by the horns and ends up ripping him in half to save the day. Like literally, you start seeing him rip in half, and bam, he's now the champion that has defeated Sabak. That's what it comes down to. They have their moment.
If you rated this movie out of 10, with 10 being the highest and 1 being She-Hulk,
yeah,
I was gonna do it. What would be your rating?
I will give this movie an 8.
Okay.
I would give it an 8. The reason I give it an 8, this movie was, carried by Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Black Adam for the most part. Like, that's who carried it. Certain characters were kind of an annoyance. Other characters were a hindrance. Some characters were just underutilized. As far as Black Adam being Black Adam, I think Black Adam was pretty spot on. Like, okay. He did what he was supposed to do. As far as Dr. Fate being Dr. Fate, he was close. He was close, but again, they this is Black Adam's movie, so they couldn't have Dr. Fate outshine Black Adam to a degree. We know, I know you know, but they got to give Black Adam his shine and stuff like that. And they set up Dr. Fate to be utilized another way later on, more than likely, because I don't
Okay.
think Dr. Fate's done by any stretch of the imagination. And in Hawkman, Hawkman was great for being Hawkman. Again, we didn't get a whole lot, and I like it. We didn't get a whole lot of backstory on him. We just know he's there. He's about business. He's running the show.
Well, I mean, his backstory is too detail oriented.
It's very detail oriented. We didn't need it right now. We didn't need it. We got. I think that they did a great job. That they gave us just enough of everything we needed to get through the movie and understand what was going on.
Okay.
Everything was fantastic as far as the movie going. I enjoyed the soundtrack. It wasn't like super head up, but it was definitely good in parts. The movie definitely, 8.5 at the highest right now. I think it was good. I can definitely miss on that.
Well, with that being said, I think that I haven't been dissuaded not to see this. In fact, I'm a little bit more intrigued, and now I have more things to actually look for to see the difference between the actual comic and this movie and see if they did it worse or if they did it better.
Now, that's definitely something that we're going to see. Again, they set up for Black Adam to definitely go forward and be the first part of this phase one. We see he sits in the throne. It's an iconic moment. He sits in the throne and he says that this doesn't feel right, and then he smashes the throne. He wants to be the protector of Kahndaq, not the ruler. He made that very clear that this is what he wants to do. So that was that, and we pretty much ended Hawkman and them were going to leave and go and do their thing. Everything was all good, and then a drone came in. The drone came in sent by Amanda Waller. She's sitting there saying, like, hey, you left, but that's fine. You step foot outside of Kahndaq, I will send somebody to handle you. If you don't, then you're fine. And that's that. And he was like, you ain't got nobody that can't handle me. There's nobody on this planet that can handle me.
We know who it is.
Said, yeah, he's not of this planet. And then he destroyed the drone. And after he destroyed the drone, Superman just floated right on in, stood face to face with him, and said, I think we should talk. And Henry Cavill is back as Superman within the DC universe.
That's great.
And we can see where it goes from there. So the movie was fantastic for what it was. The crowd was definitely electric, pun intended, for how it was supposed to go. And we think we can really kind of break down where the DC universe is going to go from here. We ain't got no other choice but to break it down and see how they pan out. So that's my take on it.
It's actually a pretty good take. So I'm intrigued now. It's making me want to go see it even faster, but I'm lazy. So.
All right. Well, that's something definitely gonna do. So what I want to do with this and stuff to end this video, pretty much, if you made it to the end of the video, definitely make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you hit that like button so that, and I need you to leave a comment so that, and whoever can leave me a comment based on the question that Tony is about to give.
What?
Some give me a DC question. I'm going to give away this Black Adam with throne figure from McFarlane Toys in the box so that I will mail it to whoever.
How you gonna put me on the spot? Any question?
Any question related to Black Adam, Justice Society, Dr. Fate, any character within.
Okay. Give me not from the movie. Give me 4 original members of the Justice Society. 4 original members. I don't need no Hawkeye, no Dr. Fate, no OG Adam. Give me other ones. I gave you one in this video.
All right. There you go. 4 members of the original Justice Society. Answer that question in the comments below. Make sure that you like the video, you subscribe to the channel, and we will be checking the comments. Tony will comment on the winner when he finds the winner, so that, and I will mail this out immediately.
Wait, am I eligible?
You are not.
What about my daughter?
She is not.
Nephew?
I have one for her already. So, with that being said, we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. We are going to do another video on the state of the DC universe and where they can go from here. We're going to talk about all the possibilities going forward as to the continuity of the DC universe, what's already been done, what can be kept, what can be moved. We're going to talk about all this stuff and figure out what direction that they're probably going to go. So stay tuned. Other than
Check
that,
out my other videos because we're gonna do some horror ones later, maybe if I don't get lazy.
I'm with it.
Hello.